is just as much a part of our existence as is day. Confusion and chaos are just as much a part of our life, no matter whether we like it or not, as are clarity and order. The problem is when those dark experiences of night and that confusion and that chaos are something that we're encountering, we often forget the potential that lies within us. We forget who we are, and we decide that that confusion, that chaos, and that darkness is something that's bigger than we are. Something we can do when those states of existence happen is explore. So when something's confusing, it makes us experience doubt, right? So when we experience that doubt, we question. Questioning is good. It's initially something that makes you feel insecure. It makes you feel uncertain, but it sends you on a quest. You start looking for answers, right? And sometimes looking for answers takes you absolutely nowhere until you reach that moment that you stop looking. Then when you stop looking and instead you listen, poof, out of thin air, the answer comes to you. Now, sometimes that answer comes and it brings with it some recognitions about ourselves that we don't really want to take a look at, right? We'd rather ignore those things about ourselves and instead go, well, you know what, I don't want to pay attention to that. I just want to continue, or I don't have time to change that because I've got to deal with this, that, or the other thing. Well, guess what? Quite often we don't have any other choice but to change it in that very specific moment, because if we don't change it, then we're going to continue in that darkness. Then we're going to continue going through that self-repetitive loop and end up going nowhere. So where in your life are you awakening to a realization? How much is that realization frustrating you as an individual, right? Instead of allowing it to be bigger than you, instead of staying in your smallness down here, you can choose to lift yourself up above the weakness that you're allowing to plague you. Rather than looking down and getting stuck in the muck, instead, you can look up and pull yourself out of the situation that you're dealing with. The problem is making that change at the moment is something that makes you feel a little bit nervous. It makes you feel a little bit uneasy. And the moment that those feelings of nervousness and uneasiness come along, then again comes the confusion. Then again comes the chaos. Then again comes the insecurity that makes you want to crawl back under the cover and be self-absorbed rather than being self-sacrificing in a situation where you're finding yourself increasingly in a position where you need to be more self-sacrificing. So what can you choose to do with this particular energy? Well, you can choose to roll up your sleeves, get to work. You can choose to be persistent in trying to overcome your problem rather than letting nervousness and uneasiness and the disease of the mind and the disease of the consciousness that wants to continue to see itself in a state of darkness and continue to see itself in a state of existence, because you know what? Being able to kind of blame something else for your problems is something that's much easier than deciding that you're going to do something about it. But at the moment, you have an opportunity to do something about it. And all you have to do is stay strong. All you have to do is stay determined. When that, I don't want to say uneasiness, because uneasiness is natural. When you find yourself giving in to your smallness rather than living large in the potential that you know that you have, you can decide at that moment, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to do this. When you catch yourself making that same mistake that you've made over and over again, you can say, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. When you find yourself in a position getting self-absorbed and wanting to blame the world and everybody else in your environment for your problem, you can decide, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to be a part of the problem by making everybody else my problem, because you know what? Everybody else has their own problems, right? So we're all having our problems. We're all going through a state of existence. We're all interacting with each other. We're simultaneously, ticking each other off. We're making each other elated. We're uplifting each other. We're going through all sorts of different types of interactions with each other. So all those situations that are making you frustrated, all those people that are making you frustrated, try to take a look at the fact that they're going through their own experiences. They're going through their own need to transform. Some of them will do it, some of them won't. But that doesn't have to concern you. What has to concern you is your own decision, your own choice, your own path, and how you want to confront it at this particular moment. So as Mercury stations direct on the 28th of March, it can bring this realization and this recognition to you. Something may seem like it's unraveling, but in the wake of that unraveling is a state of clarity. Don't hide from that clarity, even if it confronts you with an uneasy truth. Instead, choose to use what is being revealed to you for a greater level of awareness that helps you to shift out of this stuck area that you've been finding yourself in for a really long period of time and begin to take the steps towards making greater progress. Now, if you could use a little bit of help with this journey, I should mention that I do offer several different levels of astrological service. All of these are available through the astrological services page of my website. If you're interested in scheduling with me, you can do so through the link that you're going to see above in the video. Now, some people have reflected back to me that I talk a lot about just giving advice, right, in regards to the current transits in these videos. And I don't go too much into the technical stuff. Now, just briefly, I don't want to go into the technical stuff every time because a lot of it is stuff that people would not be that familiar with, right? But the way that I put this video together, for those of you who are curious, and I'm not going to do this every time, is the fact that Mercury, as it's transiting Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra, is being influenced by Venus in Shatabisha Nakshatra and Saturn in Uttara Ashada Nakshatra. So with that confusion that you're facing, you have the choice to lift yourself above it. You have to stay aware, you have to stay determined, and you have to stay focused. And stay focused on the things that are going to solve the problem rather than blaming the problem on someone else. That's going to do it, everybody. Until next time, please do take the very best care of yourself. Bye now.